Well, hey folks, Real Honestly with Jim Wrestling. Here's another retro review, WCW Clash of Champions 25, a 25-year reflection. No, this was not intentional. I didn't even think about it until I actually started, writing down stuff for this review. This event took place November 10th, 1993, so apologies for not getting it up right on that day. I have been busy, but this is leading into what will be another retro review of Battlebowl 1993, and that one will probably be up sometime early next week. So anyway, let's get cracking on with... mainly hype for the Battlebowl event, and there were quite a few title matches. There were numerous title matches, and that was the main high point of the video package. And then Mean Gene opened the show, and Tony Schiavone and Jesse Ventura on commentary. One of the last big events that Jesse Ventura did commentary for. I mean, I know he did commentary for a few pay-per-views in the 94, but he was gone right around the time that Hogan came in. Anyway, you had Road Warrior Hawk versus Rick Rude for the WCW International Heavyweight Championship, and it's over already. It was a little bit of power exchanges, a couple decent exchanges, and then there was a clothesline over the top. Hawk sent Rude to the outside. They were battling, and the referee did a really, really, really quick 10 count and then a double count out, and that's pretty much it. That was really about the end of this. It was kind of a shame because it was interesting to see Hawk in a singles role. And Rick Rude's international title reign didn't really get a lot of love, but to be fair, they didn't really book the WCW International title like it was a really worthy title, which is a shame given the couple people that held it. So yeah, this wasn't the last time that they would have any scuffle. There would be a little bit of a scuffle they would have in the main event, or at least a little bit of a brief skirmish. And then we get to the worst match of the show, easily, Equalizer versus Shockmaster. Equalizer, who later, became Dave Sullivan. That was shit. This was a really bad match. It was a little bit of power stuff. Two big lads hitting each other. This was the last big match I think that Shockmaster really had. Because he was back in WWE in early 94 as Typhoon, because the Shockmaster gimmick was pretty much dead. And of course he came out wearing a hard hat, so he had to knock himself out, because that was the whole thing. They were playing off of him being clumsy. I've already given more coverage to this match than I should have. It was a quick bear hug slam for 3, and Shockmaster won, and no one cared. This match shouldn't happen. You could have cut this and add a little more time to either Hawk and Rick Rude or a couple other matches, and you wouldn't really miss much of anything. And I got nothing against the Shockmaster, or I got nothing against the guy playing the Shockmaster. Character was shit. And then we have Mean Gene with Colonel Rob Parker, and this was about Colonel Rob Parker dumping Sid Vicious as his client and taking on Stunning Steve Austin as a client. But Colonel Rob Parker says, I'm not scared of Sid because I have, this restraining order against him. Not that Sid ever cares about restraining orders. He certainly doesn't care about the safety of not stabbing people with scissors, which happened actually a little bit after this. I think soon after the Battle Bowl pay-per-view, because Sid was supposed to face Vader and win, and possibly win the title at Starrcade 93, but they had to slot Flair in there, which turned out to be a much better match. But anyway, so that happened, and you don't get to see Sid on this card. You do get to see Johnny B. Bad versus Lord Steven Regal for the TV title. Decent match, good wrestling. Regal could usually get a good match out of just about anybody. It's a weird end, though, where Johnny B. Bad hits a punch, the kiss that don't miss, is what he called it. And for a while, Regal's just out and out, and you got Sir William, Regal's little butler guy at ringside. And for a while, Johnny B. Bad, it just seemed like either he was confused or nobody told anybody the finish. But Regal's just kind of laying there, and Bad finally covers him. 1, 2, Sir William gets Regal's foot on the rope. Johnny B. Bad gets upset, says, I should have won, gets rolled up, and Regal holds the tights for the 1, 2, 3, and that happened. Regal retains the TV title. I don't really know what this was. It wasn't bad, but a lot of sloppy finishes for this. I mean, by this point, the Clash of Champions kind of were pointless. Even though a couple of them did have some good matches, by 93, 94, when WCW was starting to do more pay-per-views, the clashes weren't really that needed. And they ended in 97. I think they only had I want to say 2 in 95, 2 in 96, and 2 in 97. And the last one was in August of 97, which was really weird. So Regal retains his TV title, and then we get Brian Pillman versus Stunning Steve Austin. The Hollywood Blondes have exploded, and this was actually probably the best match on the card. Well, maybe except the U.S. title match. Pillman attacks Stunning Steve Austin right away. Colonel Rob Parker's out there with Steve Austin, his new client. Rob Parker was a pretty good manager. a bit underrated because he could always get people riled up. He's a really, really good talker. It's a very good brawl from the opening bell, though. Some good exchanges. They really made this feel personal. I wish they hadn't split the Hollywood Blondes up like they had, because it was kind of bullshit. The Hollywood Blondes did deserve to have a longer title run, or tag title run, and really shouldn't have been split up, but it was due to backstage politics. It was. It clearly was. And even though Steve Austin would capture the U.S. title like a month later, Starrcade 93, and go on like a 7-month run before losing it to Ricky Steamboat and then winning it back due to Steamboat having an injury, and then losing it to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Good job there, giving him a title in 94. Yeah, they really should have not broken up the Hollywood Blondes is my point. But Pillman tries to go for Eric Pillman, his springboard clothesline off the ropes. Colonel Rod Parker stops him. Austin knocks him off the ropes, after the ref's distracted. Austin rolls up Pillman for the 1, 2, 3, and Steve Austin gets some momentum going in there to Starrcade, and Pillman tries to get a little bit of revenge. Hey and Austin, and then was going to hit Parker, but Parker got out of the ring, and it was not that bad. Yeah, Battle Bowl hype. Mean Gene doing Battle Bowl report, pretty much like how he did the Raw reports for WWE programming in Raw of 93. And yes, I do want to take a moment to just say I know that I was doing monthly reviews of all the Raw 1993 episodes. They weren't doing all that well. Some were not doing all that great, like as far as views. And also it got to where I was just producing too much content, so that's kind of why I stopped doing those. It was kind of a win-win for me. So I apologize if anybody was looking forward to those. I may do select Raw reviews here and there of like certain Raw episodes and maybe certain months of like good Raw programming, but I probably won't be doing monthly ones, as reviewing WWE and New Japan is really taking, its toll as far as like on my schedule. I mean, I'm not tired or anything, but I just wanted to say quickly that I did drop the Retro Raw reviews. Not to say that I won't pick up some in the future, but I won't be doing the monthly ones like I did. Anyway, so yeah, you get the Battle Bowl hype. It's happening in 10 days after this event. And then Paul Orndorff with the Assassin, both of him. I mean, boy, it was insane. I don't know how big the Assassin was in his prime, but my goodness, the weight gain hit him. And then you had Dustin Rhodes as a U.S. champion with his dad, Dusty Rhodes, at ringside. So you had Dusty and the Assassin kind of having their brief skirmish and stuff like that, as I believe they had a feud. I want to say it was in Georgia Championship Wrestling and other areas. I mean, I don't know if it was Florida. I think it was Georgia Championship Wrestling. But it was what it was. Orndorff and Dustin cut a very good pace. Orndorff's certainly the veteran. Dustin certainly caught on really, really well. Dustin was really, really good before he became Goldust. And not that he wasn't good once he became Goldust, but a lot of people forget that his run as the natural Dustin Rhodes was actually pretty damn good. He had some good wrestling. You had a roll up inside Cradle for the 1, 2, 3. So Dustin gets a victory, retains his title after a pretty good match. And Dusty is, Dusty's helping try to save Dustin by attacking the Assassin, who keeps attacking Dustin. And then he rolls him in the ring. Dusty hits a few elbows, tries to take the mask off of the Assassin. And Paul Orndorff hits him with the title belt. And so lays him out, and then you have that. So yeah, it was a nice little pop because it was St. Petersburg, Florida, and Dusty was super over there. So yeah, that happened. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And then you get Mean Gene Peace, and he basically hyped up this whole thing about the hotline he used to have, about who's going to be the manager of the year according to the fans. And I know it was Harley Race, Missy Hyatt, Teddy Long, and Sir William. I think it was all four of those. And you could call kids, get your parents' permission before calling, and you would decide who was that. And it was one of Missy Hyatt's last appearances, I think. I think she was gone by early 94. I don't remember, but I remember her not being around much after this. You then had Sting and Davey Boy Smith versus Nasty Boys for the tag titles. And Missy Hyatt at ringside, known as Miss Nasty, or the nastiest woman in WCW. It's kind of a dick move. I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of stories about Missy Hyatt, but I'm like, really? I mean, that's kind of a dick thing to say. During this brief skirmish, you got one of the Nasty Boys and Sting in the ring, and then you got Davey Boy and one of the other Nasty Boys, and I think it was Sags. And you had Davey Boy Smith earlier like he had talked about, like on a previous program, wanting to face Rude for the WCW International title. And then Rude comes out and lays out Davey Boy with the Rude Awakening. So Davey Boy's selling. The match hasn't even officially started yet, so you get the bell that's ringing as Sting gets Davey Boy to the ring, so the match starts proper. It's basically 2-on-1. Sting battles Nasty Boys, gets some moves in, has them down at times. Then Brian Knobbs cuts them off, and they take over on Sting for a bit. And then he finally tags Davey Boy, and that happened. Nasty Boys end up getting the victory. It was really messy. And not very good. It was not very good at all. Like, it was really actually fucking bad. The Nasty Boys are never that good of a tag team. With the right team, they could be good, they could have a good match, but this really wasn't it. And then you get Vader versus Flair for the WCW title and Harley Race at ringside, and it was like 10 minutes, I think, maybe. I don't even know if it was 10 minutes. I think it was less. This was like a much more condensed version of their match that they would have at Starrcade 93, which was a tremendous match. And it was decent. You had Vader do his power moves and stuff like that. Even though he probably could have won the match in the first 2 minutes by hitting the Vader bomb, he didn't. And drug on for a little bit. You end up getting a DQ finish because at one point Vader had, I think Sting had, no, not Sting, but Flair had ducked a clothesline, and then Vader ended up hitting the referee. Now, it was unintentional, but that ended up being a DQ. So even though the referee ended up counting when Flair got a pin on Vader, counted the 1, 2, 3, and Flair thought he won the title, he still waved it off and called a DQ. Why the fuck didn't he just call a DQ right there? It just made no goddamn sense. So this does lead, and I believe Sting and Dustin were there at ringside too to celebrate with Flair, but then it turned out he didn't win the title. Mean Gene's out there. Flair does a little interview, says, well, you got your partner, I believe it was Vader and Rick Rude in a match. Vader and Stein and Steve Austin, and it was going to be Flair and Sid Vicious. And that was kind of playing out the whole thing about how Sid Vicious was going to face Vader at Starrcade 93, which didn't end up happening. But anyway, so yeah, that's basically the end of that. It was like I don't usually grade the retro reviews, but it was like a C program. It was like average. There were some messy matches, easy for me to say. There were some good matches. I will have a Battlebowl review up later, like probably not later it might be later this week, who knows. But if not late this week, it'll be very early next week. So anyway, what do you guys think? You want me to review more of these classic WCW shows? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Rethlin, and I will see you soon.